Hey, Chief Meteorologist Michael Bowling here along with Noah Trombley. I know a lot of people just had their phones go off with that emergency alert saying that we have some 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts possibly moving through the region now. And that's because there was an 84-mile-per-hour wind gust measured in Vernon. And so we're watching this line of storms that is approaching. So there is a chance for some destructive wind gusts moving through portions of the area. So that's going to be everywhere in this new severe thunderstorm warning box that we've just been seeing. That is going to stretch all the way down through Wichita County, going to be stretching towards the northeastern portions of Archer County. This is going to include northeastern or northern portions of Clay County into southeastern portions of Stevens, western portions of Jefferson County, pretty much all of Cotton County at this point, and then portions of Tillman County. So it's going to be for this Boeing segment that we're starting to see right here that's starting to make its way into portions of Wichita County. And it's just about to hit Electra right now with some of those strong wind gusts. So the main concern here is going to be those 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So Noah, on the iPad there, let's go ahead and get that ready. Connect that to the Apple TV. I believe it's called WX. So let's go ahead and get that ready to go here because we're going to go through this all as we talk about this. All right, so looking to the south here. So here's our main outflow boundary. That's going to have some strong winds with it, but not the main bulk of the really strong wind gusts here. That's about to hit Burke-Burnett, and then further down the line, it's going to get closer to Iowa Park. Noah, also, will you zoom in a little bit so we can see Iowa Park? I didn't zoom in far enough to pull up Iowa Park here. But while we're still zoomed out a little bit, let's go ahead and point out Holiday there. So we're starting to see that wind gust get a little bit closer to Iowa Park here. Back behind it further is where we're going to see some of those strong wind gusts. So that's where we move back through Vernon. So it's going to be a little bit further off to the west. So right here, back where the rain is, that's where we're seeing some of those stronger wind gusts, possibly as high as 80 miles per hour. So right now, the main outflow boundary is about to hit Burke-Burnett, and then probably about 10 to 15 miles behind it is where we could see some of those 70 to 80 mile per hour destructive wind gusts approaching Burke-Burnett. Now, as we go further down towards Wichita Falls, you're probably still got some time before this approaches you. You probably got about 15 to 20 minutes before this approaches you at this point. Now, when we're talking about 80 mile per hour wind gusts, I haven't covered this quite yet. We're talking about you're not quite in the realm of you need to take your full-on tornado precautions, but this is a case where we want you to probably stay away from the windows. That's really what we want you to do here, is we're talking about chances where we could break some windows at this point with debris being picked up possibly from outside or some tree limbs being picked up and thrown. That's what we're getting concerned more with these 80 mile per hour destructive wind gusts here moving through portions of Wichita County, moving out of Wilbarger County. Now as we look out towards Clay County, really we got a long ways to go until this gets closer to Clay County, but that is going to be a concern too. Holiday, Lakeside City, you still got about as long as Wichita Falls does, probably still about another 15, 20, maybe 25 minutes. Now as we look out towards Clay County, Charlie and Petrolia, you still got about 15 minutes or probably even longer than that in Charlie, probably 20 minutes. In Petrolia, probably closer to about 25 to 30 minutes before this approaches you. Good chance, when we're talking about the 25 to 30 minute time frame, good chance the storm's going to weaken by then. Usually these 80 mile per hour wind gusts do not last quite that long. Now we've been talking a lot about the southern portion of this warning. Let's talk about the northern portion of the warning for a second. We're talking about portions of Cotton County. We're talking about Taylor, Walters. You're both in this warning. You're going to have a good chance to get this in about, both of you probably, about 15 to 20 minutes is when that the stronger wind gusts are going to approach you. Right here, you see that main line. That's where we can see some of those stronger wind gusts approaching you as well. And Waurika, you're going to be towards the end of this warning, probably closer to about that 35-minute time frame for you to get closer to you. And Waurika, I believe that's Comanche, yeah, right there towards the far northeastern portion of this warning and southeastern portions of Stevens County. All right, is that connected to the main thing?
Yes, I believe so.
All right, so let's go ahead and put that on the Apple TV here, and we're going to walk through all this with you. All right, so, yeah, there's our strong wind gusts here. And that is about to be, okay, so we're going to pause this for a second. So all these little areas here in the yellow, and we need to talk to Tony about the iPad again because it's gotten zoomed in on us again here, but we're going to work with it. All right, so all these areas in the yellow.
Oh, I did that. You can zoom back out if you do
No. It's I'll talk to you about later.
Okay.
So all these areas in the yellow, that's where we're going to see these stronger wind gusts possible. Look further off to the north, we still see those as well on the northern end of this warning. So closer to Burke Burnett, it's about to approach you here in about 5 to 10 minutes. Getting closer to Iowa Park, probably here in about 5 minutes. I mean, probably Burke and Iowa Park, probably both in about 5 minutes is when these are going to get closer to you. Now, so these are the strong, I mean, yeah, pretty much this entire portion of the storm is having those really strong wind gusts. All these little pockets in yellow that are starting to pop up here, those are going to be our chances for 75 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts that are moving with this storm. So we have a very powerful thunderstorm now moving into Wichita County and portions of Cotton County now. And really, I haven't pointed this out yet. The southern portions of Comanche County, Geronimo, this is getting close to you there, and the southern portions of Comanche County as well. Okay, and then Holiday, right now you're not quite in line for maybe these 80 mile per hour wind gusts. Let me scroll down a little bit. iPad's not quite lining up with TV, so I have to watch that. Holiday, you're not quite maybe in line with these 80 mile per hour wind gusts just yet, but you're definitely going to get at least some 70 mile per hour wind gusts based on this line. Man, this is a strong line, Noah.
Very, very, very strong. And
I mean, that is a well-defined line of very strong wind gusts with this thunderstorm.
Yeah, very defined. And what was interesting was earlier, you and I saw, the storm kind of rotating, trying to start going east, and then all of a sudden it just took a sharp turn back down to southeast.
Yeah, and earlier we were seeing some of these strong winds higher up in the storm. Noah and I were talking about it. We're like, wow, I can't believe these haven't made it down to the surface. And they're finally now, after we got that strong wind gust in Vernon, we're like, well, the strong winds are finally making it down towards the surface. We're finally starting to see some of these strong winds make it down towards the surface.
Granfield just reported a wind gust of 60.
Okay, so 60. So that's some good news right there. It's not quite as strong in Granfield, but really, Granfield didn't quite get those stronger pockets. So Granfield really split the difference there. So we got to watch out. That's definitely some good news for Granfield, but they didn't quite get one of these stronger pockets. Burke, you're very close to one of these stronger pockets right here of those stronger wind speeds. Let's go ahead and sample that. Zoom out there a little bit and then sample it. Yeah, 82, 85. Now this is a little higher up in the atmosphere, so we wouldn't expect this to be exactly how strong they'd be at the surface. But yeah, there's a good chance for some 90, yeah. There's a good chance for some 80 mile per hour wind gusts there, so we got to watch out for that. Moving very close to Burke. Also, pretty close to Iowa Park here. Let's go.
Very, very
roll
close,
down, yeah. Moving pretty close to Iowa Park, another one of these little areas in the yellow. That's moving right in towards you. Once again, my recommendation is not full-on tornado precautions necessarily, but I would advise staying away from windows when this storm hits, because that's going to be our main concern here, is the possibility of breaking some windows with these very strong, destructive wind gusts moving in. Okay, so let's continue to look at this. Let's take a look at the reflectivity again.
And remember, it looks all radar indicated as of right now, but we did have that 84 mile per hour wind gust in Vernon, so we know that this storm is producing some very, very high winds.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't get 80, these are at least 70, 75, which is still very concerning. Once we get over 75, these winds start to get more concerning for us. So let's zoom back out here. And that's why they trigger WIA. I mean, the wireless emergency alerts. It takes a lot for the National Weather Service to decide to trigger wireless emergency alerts for these kind of storms. So here's our main outflow boundary once again on the radar scope product. Heavy rainfall is where we're going to see a lot of these strong winds, but just behind that outflow boundary is where we're seeing some of those very strong winds too.
And what was interesting, Michael, you and I were talking earlier, we saw this outflow boundary, a couple hours ago, and we thought, oh, okay, that's a good sign because the outflow boundary should move in front of this storm and kind of lose most of its energy. But this outflow boundary has either been staying really slow to the storm, or the storm's just been moving up with it very quickly.
Yeah, in some cases, whenever these storms start to, a lot of times outflow boundaries, we like them because it usually means the storm is not going to be rotating on us, and that's usually good news for us because we don't see the tornado threat anymore. But in this case, we're starting to get those strong winds behind the outflow boundary, much stronger than what usually occurs, and that's going to be the concern here for us here. So right now in Burke, you're going to start getting those stronger winds, but the strongest winds are just to your west right now. So in Burke, you're going to start feeling those stronger winds. Same thing for Iowa Park, same thing for Ranelagh. Looking to the north, really, we got a big swath of it right here now, moving through Condon County and into southern portions of Comanche County. That's a large swath of some of those stronger winds there. Okay, let's continue to play this forward. Okay, so right now we're still watching those very strong winds there along that line. Let's go back and go over to our regular product for a second. Let's walk around there. That's a little bit better mapping software again. And so that's our only severe thunderstorm warning now. They canceled the northern end of the warning. That was just for Comanche County. So that's some good news there for the rest of Comanche. So we still have this as one warning. Any updates on the warning yet? Are they still keeping the 80-mile-per-hour winds?
I am looking right now. Okay, continues the thunderstorm watch for Archer, Baylor, Clay, Ford, Hardman, Knox, Wichita, Wobo. 2 a.m.
Okay.
No updates on the warning.
Okay.
So far, there's still... Yeah,
just keep me posted on anything that's new on this warning. Or
we have new thunderstorm watches for a lot of counties in Oklahoma.
We should put up this severe thunderstorm watch that's in my show. I think we just got a new severe thunderstorm watch, and we'll go ahead and put that up there while we're going through this all. Okay, so Monte County, Jefferson County, we don't care about these right now. We just care about the our counties here. You don't need to zoom out on that. Stevens County, Jefferson County, and Monte County. Those are the counties that we're concerned about here. Those are going to be the ones that just got added to this watch. Now, if that Boeing segment continues on that path, we don't think it's going to continue southeast the whole way, but it could make more of an easterly path along the line, which is why Monte County was added to the watch, but not necessarily Young or Jack County. So that's the reason for that. But then Stevens County and Jefferson County were also added to that watch. It says until 1 a.m. Go ahead and pixel query that, will you, Noah?
What's that?
Will you go ahead and pixel query that, use the question mark, and click on the new watch? So and see how long it's till. That's going to be, the new one. You'll have to click on one of the new ones. Until 8 a.m. Okay, well that's not going to be for us until 8 a.m. We're definitely going to be done with it before 8. So let's go ahead and go back to the radar there. Actually, take me back to radar scope, because now radar scope. All right, so now we're getting closer to Burke again. Iowa Park, it looks like for the most part, some of the stronger winds are kind of missing you, but they're very close to Burke. And in Burke, I'm very concerned with some of these stronger wind gusts approaching you. All along I-44 in Condon County, north of Ranelagh, that's where we're going to see some of the stronger winds move through as well. So we don't want anybody traveling on I-44 between Geronimo and Ranelagh, because that's going to be a very concerning area there. Okay, so moving into Burke, though, is going to be some of those really strong winds. And then now we're starting to get closer to Wichita Falls as well. Also getting a little bit closer to Holiday. This is getting right on the doorstep of Holiday. Let me go ahead and zoom down here. So we're really just a couple of minutes out from Holiday, starting to see some of these stronger winds. Really, Holiday, you're kind of further away from these stronger areas. But the southern end of this warning was the part that had the earlier 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, but we're not seeing it on radar here. Does not mean it couldn't still happen. So still take your precautions here with this warning approaching you. Now, as you go back towards Wichita Falls, the strong winds probably still about 5 to 10 minutes out. Maybe, really this is starting to pick up some steam. Let me go ahead and sample how fast this is moving as I'm looking at it. Moving at 55 miles per hour. Okay, so this is really getting very close to Wichita Falls, probably maybe 5 to 10 minutes before it starts getting close to town. Really, it's going to get close to the west side of town in just a couple of minutes. starting to realize, good chance that it might knock out power here at the station. If it knocks out power here at the station, I'll try to keep you posted on Facebook Live. I mean, that's what we'll have to do. Just kind of realizing that off the top of my head. It's what we have to do, I guess. So let's keep that in mind there too. So as we starting to see this warning get closer to us, however, right now in Burke, you're probably feeling those really strong winds, especially, I mean, in and around Burke, especially south of Burke. That's where we're seeing really all these yellows just all around Burke right there, those tan colors. That's where we're seeing those strongest wind speeds right now.
We have a train spotter west of Burke Burnett, 55.
Okay, well, that's some good news. Maybe we're seeing another case of a lot of this being those elevated winds like we were before. So we might be seeing another one of those cases, but we did have that 84 mile per hour wind gust reported in Vernon. So that's what triggered all of this, is there was a confirmed 84 mile per hour wind gust in Vernon. So that's what's triggered this whole warning in the first place. So Walters, this is right on your doorstep now. So in Walters, you're about to see some of these really strong winds. Once again, all along 44 here, we have those really strong winds in Cotton County. Now moving into Randlet as well. Randlet, you're feeling those strong winds. Getting closer to Temple here in about 5 minutes. Now we're getting south. It's about to start approaching Clay County. Once again, it's just right moving into Wichita Falls now, about to hit the base. About to the west side of Wichita Falls, and then it's just going to continue to move across the town. And then with Lakeside City, this is going to be moving across you here in about 6 to 7 minutes, and then down towards Holiday, it's just moving through you right now at this point. So I think I can maybe even hear a little bit of the wind starting to pick up. So as long as we hopefully keep most of this elevated, so far all the reports have been around severe limits, not quite up to those 80 mile per hour marks. Hopefully that's all this ends up being. Hopefully all ends up being those elevated winds higher up in the atmosphere that we're seeing on radar, and not those winds to the surface like the wind speed that was reported in Vernon at 84 miles per hour. That's what we're going to hope for, but we're going to stick with this until we have that confirmed completely from spotters and the National Weather Service for you. Yeah, I'm starting to hear the wind outside now.
I am too.
Yeah, we can hear it going through the tower, so wind's starting to pick up here. So it's now moving through Walter, so of course it's starting to hit the west side of town. That obviously tells everyone the station's on the west side of town. It's going to start sweeping across Wichita Falls now, so keep that in mind at this point, Wichita Falls. Excuse me. So in Burke right now, like we said, feeling some of the strong winds. Really, a lot of strong winds are moving right around Burke, and so far, so good. At least as far as spotters are reporting.
Yeah, I had 2 spotter reports. One at 1:13 a.m. was 49 miles per hour, and then one at 1:19 was 55.7.
Yeah, just below severe limits even. Okay, so now this strong wind gust is starting to move through the eastern portions of Cotton County. So we'll track all that too. And then eventually it'll approach portions of Stevens County into western portions of Jefferson County too. And then we get into northern portions of Clay County. And so we haven't heard anything from the Weather Service though
I have not heard anything from the Weather Service about a new warning or anything like that.
Okay. I'm just curious of what their thoughts are. They think this is mostly elevated. I mean, that 84 mile per hour wind gust, it was the Vernon station that measured it. So you would think it's confirmed. Okay, so we're waiting for another little scan there. Let's go ahead and go back to looking at reflectivity here. And so right now, really what we're getting right now in Wichita Falls, oh, okay, you put it up on there. That works. So really, right now in Wichita Falls, we're getting this main outflow boundary, and that's what we're getting in Holiday too. But really where the strongest wind should be is right around where the rain is. And there's still a good chance that, well, the rain's about to hit Iowa Park. There's a good chance that we don't get a ton of rain right in town in Wichita Falls, that we're really just watching the chance for those really strong winds with this main outflow boundary along with the storm, but there's a good chance that some of these stronger winds are going to be staying further to the north. That's where I'm really concerned, is really Burke, Burnett, north at this point. But of course, Vernon was on the southern end of the warning. It looked like Vernon was going to be mostly out of the rain, and then that's where we got the 84-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So we have to watch this entire area for those stronger wind gusts again. Let's see here.
And what's been really interesting with these storms, Michael, is they have been really teetering between eastward movement and southeastern movement. Like,
yeah, they have not been consistent at all.
No,
which is
like we said about an hour ago, they looked like they were shifting towards east. They looked like they would ride the Red River, and then all of a sudden,
yeah, which zoomed this out. Zoom this out for us for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a look at that again. It really looks like, for me, it's really, you kind of still have the main bow that we were watching earlier. It's still on that easterly path, but the back building that we're getting that's to the west is what we're kind of seeing more on that southeasterly path.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Michael, but I can hear it outside right now, and we just got a train spotter of 62-mile-per-hour winds in Wichita Falls.
Yeah, that makes sense, and it's probably going to continue to pick up a little bit. So we do have a confirmed severe wind gust now in Wichita Falls of 62 miles per hour.
Our tower cam is shaking right now really bad out in Wichita Falls, so you can tell.
Oh, yeah. Well, as it continues to shake, let me know if it doesn't go out, and we might even take a look at that for a second to see how it looks.
Wow.
Yeah. Go ahead and put up the tower cam there for a second. No, let's see how it looks. Yeah, that's a shaky tower cam. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. Yeah, that tower cam's shaking. We see it shake quite a bit. I imagine it's going to get even shakier than this before too long. Let's go ahead and go back to radar there, Noah. And keep an eye on this. Right now, let's actually go back to radar scope, because I want to talk a little bit about what we're seeing on there. So we're seeing this band right now that's going from portions north of Wichita Falls, really. That's where we're seeing kind of the highest of these yellow areas. That's where we would see the highest of the wind speeds. But this is all elevated above the surface at this point. These aren't winds at the surface. And that's kind of the difference in this. And really, I mean, when we were looking at the velocity earlier, when we had that wind speed in Vernon, we didn't see it that much on radar. So there's a good chance that just because we're not seeing it elevated above the surface here on radar, that we can't have these stronger wind speeds closer to the surface. So we got to keep a close eye on that too.
We just got another train spotter measuring 54 miles per hour wind gusts in Wichita Falls.
Okay, so plenty of wind gusts up over 50. I mean, and then obviously one severe one at 62. Yeah, we have plenty of spotters in Wichita County. We have great spotter network in Wichita County. So I imagine we are going to get plenty of reports. And they all got woken up. Of course, they were already activated, but if they weren't activated already, they all got woken up by the emergency alert. All right, so we look further off to the north. That's where we're seeing like the rain's really starting to hit the eastern portion of Jefferson County. That's the border right here for Jefferson County, or Cotton County. And that's where we're starting to see the rain starting to hit. Here's our outflow boundary that just hit Wichita Falls. The rain's not even there yet, and we're starting to see those strong winds. Really, we would look further off to the north for stronger winds at this point. Rain's starting to pick up a little bit here in Iowa Park, and this is slightly reminiscent of what we saw in Vernon. The showers and storms just barely got there, and then we got that strong wind gust. So we're going to keep an eye on that too.
Archer County just reported a 62.
62? Where in Archer County did you see that?
Mankins.
Mankins? Okay. So Mankins had a report of 62 miles per hour. Okay. So we look around now, and we just see most of the county right now. Most of Wichita County now has rain, except for really the southeastern corner of Wichita County. And all of Wichita County could possibly be experiencing some very strong wind gusts at this point. And we're about to start seeing this move into Clay County and the northwestern half of Archer County could also be having some of these strong wind gusts behind this outflow boundary. And then we also obviously got most of Conning County at this point also with a chance to experience these strong wind gusts.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but continued severe thunderstorm warning. They have, for the warning for Archer, Clay, Wichita, Comanche, those counties, they have upped it to 80-mile-per-hour winds.
Okay, okay, so continued at 80.
Or continued at 80, yes.
Yeah, okay. So they're keeping this warning at 80 miles per hour. That means the Weather Service still thinks there's a good chance for some more of those 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts like the 84 one that we saw in Vernon. We have not confirmed another one since then, but the Weather Service still thinks there's a good chance for another one of those 84 or 80-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts like the one that we had in Vernon.
We did get another wind gust in Wichita Falls of 60.
Okay, so another severe wind gust. Not quite up to the 84 mark. Yeah, and I understand why they kept that. I mean, this is a huge area. I mean, that is just a large area. I mean, all these areas in the tan are all 70 plus. That's just a ton of very strong winds, and several of them are over 80. I'm not going to sample the whole thing to find out what all these wind speeds are, but that is just a very large area. And once again, the area in Vernon that had the strong wind gusts looked more like this. It looked more like these lower wind speeds that were more like 60 to 70, and then all of a sudden we got the report of an 84. It was just, it was a little shocking at the time when we saw it. I was kind of wondering, is that accurate? And then I was like, well, it has to be. It's the station there. So here we are. Okay, so we're going to continue to look off to the north here. And that's really where the bulk of this rain is right now. It's really sitting across the northern, or really the northeastern half of Wichita County, then across all of Cotton County, and it's starting to now just reach the northeastern portions of Clay County. And so here we look at the velocity product again.
We just lost our tower cam.
Just lost the tower cam? Well, that's no fun. At least we got to look at it for a second while it was
We have
shaky.
a spotter. It's 3 miles west-southwest of Wichita Falls. Just measured a 73-mile-per-hour wind gust.
Okay, 73. So south. You said where was it? Southeast.
West-southwest of Wichita Falls.
How many miles?
3 miles.
Okay, so that's basically Wichita Falls then.
One tree limbs on the ground.
Okay, so we have confirmed over 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts right in and around Wichita Falls. And so once again, I'll point out the radar. The wind speeds in and around, wind speeds just west-southwest of Wichita Falls, we don't even have all these yellows in and around where it's just showing the stronger wind speeds. That's very similar to what we saw in Vernon. We didn't see all the bright colors that would show the stronger winds. That's very reminiscent of what we saw 35 minutes ago when we started talking about this, I believe. I think it was about 35 minutes ago or something like that at this point.
Close to that.
Yeah. So that's very reminiscent. So there's a good chance that we could have those 80-plus mile-per-hour winds in and around Wichita Falls still, or anywhere else. I mean, if we're still seeing these really high winds on radar, that really means anywhere in this warning, which is why they drew such a big warning. It's actually the biggest warning I've ever seen in our area for 80-mile-per-hour winds.
We are definitely getting some strong winds here at the station.
It's picking up.
We have equipment swinging, inside because of how.
Yeah, no, it's picking up. I can hear it pick up outside, and I'm sure everyone in town is starting to feel it pick up. So towards the band, though, right here in the center of this band is where we're starting to really see that, right on the border here of Clay County, towards Wichita County and the southern portions of Conning County. So once again, I'll say this again, since we're starting to see some stronger wind speeds. For some reason, we went off the air. We'll try to do as much coverage as we can on Facebook. That's what we'd have to do. I mean, I think that's what it would come down to. But that would probably be the case if we got a really brutal wind gust that took out something. Excuse me. Alrighty. So as we look down towards the south, once again, we had that 73-mile-per-hour wind gust. You just don't see much there on the velocity compared to what you're seeing for the brighter colors that would signify the stronger wind speeds. It's just one of those cases where we're not seeing it.
We have a new severe warning coming for southern portions of Archer, Clay, and Jefferson counties.
Southern portions of Archer? Or
I'm sorry, for the southern portion of the line.
okay, southern
Into
portion.
Archer, Clay, and Jefferson County.
Oh, okay. Archer, Jefferson, and Clay?
Yes.
Archer, Jefferson, and Clay. Oh, okay, so there a new warning downstream. So we're going to get a new warning that's going to include portions of Jefferson, Clay, and Archer counties. Okay, Kyle Guthrie, our storm chaser, measured a 64-mile-per-hour wind gust just west of the stadium. So that's another severe wind gust. Geez, this has got to be the most widespread. This has got to be the most widespread amount of wind gusts I've seen around town. Wow.
And what's so interesting about this storm is how wide it is and how much it's persisting.
Yeah. No, it's consistent. I mean, this is a very strong MCS. Mesoscale convective system is what an MCS stands for. It's
The
just one of these
thunderstorm warning-
large storms that comes across the area. Go and put it on the Mac software. It's going to get it before we get it on the radar scope.
This new warning is for 70-mile-per-hour winds and points.
They just covered the rest of. So for those, most people do not know this. So leave it right here on this image. So the National Weather Service in Norman covers Jefferson County, covers Clay County, covers Archer County. They do not cover Montague County or Jack County. So that's why this warning looks like this. They just covered the rest of their area, and then they're going to let Fort Worth, who covers Montague and Jack County, handle the rest from there. So what's this warning for?
70-mile-per-hour winds with 0.75 inch hail.
Okay, yeah. So basically what we're looking at here is the Weather Service is going to wait to see what this is going to do and see if we get another report of those 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts before they trigger the wireless emergency alerts for the rest of everyone else around here. That's kind of what they're looking at this point. So right now they haven't quite seen another 80-mile-per-hour wind gust. They're going to wait to see if we get another one of those. And until then, we're going to stick with the 70-mile-per-hour wind gust for that. But we're going to stick with you for at least a few more minutes here until we also decide to hold off on that. All right, so let's go back to the iPad. And of course, we're going to stick with coverage. We're just going to go back to intermittent coverage. Okay, so we look off to the north here. That's still where we hit this largest band, and we haven't gotten a whole lot of reports from that largest band. We got the one report from Burke, but it wasn't a very high one, and that's kind of what we've seen a lot of today. It's in the areas that we see the higher wind speeds on the radar that we don't get the high reports from. It's from the areas like Wichita Falls, or near Wichita Falls, that didn't show the strongest winds. We get the reports of 70 plus, 80 plus, like Vernon 2.
You said our storm chaser report is 73?
He reported 64.
64. We just got a report, three west-southwest, so I'm guessing 3 miles west-southwest of Wichita Falls, just reported a 73 mile per hour.
Oh, another 73?
No, it looks like another 73, unless that is a confirmation of the earlier one.
That's confirmation of the earlier one.
Okay,
yeah.
My mistake then.
Yeah, you're fine.
So that the 73 mile per hour wind gust has been confirmed.
Okay, yeah. Sounds about right. Okay, so we're going to continue to watch these areas for at least a few more minutes. So far, spotters have not, and then of course it went across Shepherd, and Shepherd didn't pick up any stronger winds than that either.
Got a reports gusts of 57 knots in Wichita Falls.
57 knots, that would have to come from Shepherd. So that would be
Shepherd.
1.12. I'm trying to calculate that on top of my head. It's got to be about 63, 64.
I can look that up for you right now real quick.
64, 65 maybe. Somewhere in there. So still severe wind gusts.
65.
65, yeah. Anything over 58 is a severe wind gust. So that's another severe wind gust. I mean, that means really across all of Wichita Falls saw a severe wind gust tonight. I mean that's a very strong storm, and really It's not very often that you get a severe thunderstorm warning where everyone gets something severe. Tonight we got an entire severe thunderstorm warning where likely everyone got a severe wind gust across the entire board. This was a very strong line and still is a very strong line. Now moving into Clay County, just hit Petrolia, just hit Jolly, hitting Byers now. Now moving in the eastern portion or western portions of Jefferson County. Still watching southwestern portions of Stevens County. Eventually, Henrietta, you're now included in the new warning. Henrietta, you're about 10 minutes out from this, maybe 5 minutes at the least. We go down towards the south, Archer City. This is going to be right on your border now. It's going to hit you. Give it about 5 minutes behind that before the winds really start to pick up. Same thing for Scotland. It's about to hit you. Give it another 5 minutes before the winds really start to pick up. Windthorst, you're a little bit further down the line, maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes. And then give it another 5 minutes behind that before the winds really start to pick up again. That's just going to be the story for everyone.
We've got another 65 mile per hour wind gust report at Shepherd Air Force Base.
That's the same one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, those are just confirmations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so this is about to hit Addington. It's about to hit Waurika as well. It's about to just hit everyone along the line here in western portions of Jefferson County, all the way down towards Ryan and Sugden. Getting down towards Terrell too. But Terrell, you probably still got at least another 15 minutes till the line gets to you. Bellevue, you're also in the warning. We're going way down towards you. But you still got a ways to go here. You got another 15 to 20 minutes. Now, as we're starting to hit the point where this is clearing the 80 mile per hour wind area, we're probably going to take a little bit of a break here. I've kind of told everyone what they're expecting. And yeah, we're just going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, get some water here. We've been talking for a little while, and then we're going to come back and give you another update. I want to thank you for sticking with us here at Channel 3, and we will be back in just a moment.